Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm trying to go live on Instagram here today too. And Instagram, if you're not familiar with lives and through StreamYard, has a little bit different format for how they allow you to go live. So anyway, I'm glad. Welcome to Instagram, people. We haven't done Instagram ever, and so this is good. So LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, welcome. My name is Bill Caskey. I do this every day at 8:30. I try to bring you things that will help you realize your potential and grow your business. And over the last couple of weeks, we've done things like, how do you find your purpose, your true purpose? How do you get out of the competitive jungle? We talk on Fridays to leaders, and all of this is brought to you by a $1 Million Seller Challenge that I do each month for 1 week. The next one is May 6th to May 10th. I encourage you to just check it out. Go to milliondollarsellerchallenge.com. We just finished our challenge last week, had an awesome time, had 50 people on, just really, really good. Everybody got so much out of it, and we're putting together a collage of videos from it anyway. So today, the question is do you feel sometimes like you kid yourself? Yeah, I don't know if you say the title of this was Lies We Tell, but these are lies we tell ourselves. These are not lies we tell in the marketplace. However, I would say that lies we tell ourselves are even more impactful and hurtful and damaging than lies we tell. I'm not saying it's okay to lie, but I think we've got to be honest with ourselves and say, are we telling ourselves things that we want to believe, we want to be true only because we believe them? Or are we interpreting the way the world is today through a clear set of eyes? And so I want to share with you 5. Actually, I've got 6 here. There's a bonus, but let's go through these really quickly. And as we go through these, I'd like you to ask yourself the question, do I lie to myself this way? And you may not. Some of these, you may say, no, I totally agree, Bill, that I don't lie to myself here. Okay, number 1, we tell ourselves that in order to sell something, we have to show up physically. And some of you will say, well, that's absurd. We don't have to show up. We can show up online. But there's a lot of people who still feel like, oh, no, I've got to fly across the country. I've got to be there. I've got to be face-to-face. Now, I'm not suggesting that face-to-face is totally dead. Of course, if you're going to have a Zoom call with somebody for 30 minutes or play golf with them for 4 hours, I would say if you can play golf with them for 4 hours, if it's a big enough deal, then do it. But a lot of times, that's not the choice. The choice is, do we even consider digital as a way to promote ourselves and success? So here's an example. I've used this before, but if one of you invite me to come into your company and you say, Bill, I'd like you to come in and maybe spend a couple hours with our team, I will always send a video prior to that so that your team or you can get a sense of what are we going to be teaching? What's the baseline for this? What's Caskey's philosophy? Is Caskey a plant that's been inserted into this training from the management team, implying that we're broken? Well, of course not. If that's the implication, I don't want to work with companies who feel like their people are broken. Nobody's broken. Now, we may not have the knowledge and the comfort zone to be able to get to the next level, but that's not broken. But if I do that, then now by the time I get there to the meeting, and that was a digital video, it wasn't me showing up first, digital video, now there's a lot more comfort. Now you might say, well, that's not really sales process. Yeah, it kind of is, because I still need to get you to buy in, all the people around the table to buy into my concepts and to me if I'm going to have any kind of impact on you. So digital is far superior from a time standpoint. Quality of relationship, obviously physical still works, but don't disregard the digital. Number 2, the only thing you need is a good cold call script. Bill, if I just had a better script, if I just had, what are the words? What can I say? I get this all the time from people. They come into a program, they say, okay, yeah, I got all the video stuff and all the pop, but what should I say on a cold call? And I always say, why are you making cold calls? And they say, because it's the only lead generation that works for me. And that's a lie. That's a lie. It may be the only one you have found works for you, but that's a lie we tell ourselves that, oh no, the other stuff doesn't work. The only thing that works in my world is cold calling, but nobody makes cold calls. and they're awful. And why would you do it with all the other avenues available? Why would you do cold call? I'm not saying don't do them at all, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. So this idea of a cold call script is going to change your life, big lie. 3, my contact will take our solution to the right people. So if I present to my contact level at the business, I'm thinking business to business here, then that person will take the solution to a higher level and get authority. Lie. Rarely works. Sometimes it works, and it works just often enough that we say, well, it worked 2.5 years ago with, remember the Smith Enterprise Company? It might work today. It hasn't worked in the meantime, but we lie to ourselves. You've got to be in front of the people who are the authority and influencers. If you're not there, if you can't get there mentally and emotionally, then you need to do some work on yourself. You need to hire a coach to help you get there. Not me. I mean, you can hire, but that's not a pitch. But if you are afraid, if you have fear in the sales process of getting to the person who's actually making the decision and reaping the rewards of your solution, it's not just making the decision. Who's going to stand the most to gain if you come in and work with the company? It's probably somebody higher level. So if you have fear about that, find somebody to help you. There's help. There's help available. But if you keep doing the same thing, keep getting the same results, then you wake up, you're 55 years old and you're still making $125,000 a year and can't figure out why your retirement doesn't have $10 million in it. It's because you never got help. And the world is full of people who don't want to ask for help. Ask for help there. Number 4, it's all about behavior, Bill. I just got to go and do and grind and do work ethic. You know, Bill, I've got a good work ethic. And I always say, yes, you do. But unfortunately, you're working yourself into your grave, because work ethic does not necessarily equal income. If you think work ethic equals income, it's another, see, yet another lie. It's the 7th lie. The 7th lie. Work ethic does not equal income, especially if the work ethic is grinding away at something that doesn't work. So it's not about all about behavior. I've got to have some thinking. I'm going to talk here in number 7 about the difference between being, having, and doing. But that's a big element. We think that the doing is the answer. The doing is never the answer. Because if you're not doing the right thing or not doing the thing in the right way, then the doing doesn't matter. You'll never get to the having if you're doing the wrong doing. So you leaders who are constantly telling your people, just go do more, just go make more calls, just go do more. No, stop that. It's not helping anybody, because they're not doing the right things. They're not doing them in the right way. And let's step back and have a think. Let's think about what we're doing. Let's have a strategy. Let's have some kind of a vision of how we want to pull the prospect into our business and move them along and ascend them. That's strategic stuff. It's not doing stuff. I'm not saying don't do. I'm saying don't rely on doing to change your. If you want to get to from 100 grand to 500 grand, doing ain't going to help you. You can't do 5 times as much, can you? Now you can create, you can imagine, you can think, you can strategize. That'll get you there. Number 5, the lie of incremental potential. The lie of incremental potential is that we think that 5%, additional 5% this year is good, or 10% or 20%. Rarely do we look at the exponential version of that and say, well, if we could get 10%, could we get 100%? Could we 10x our business? 10% is 1x, or no, yeah. Well, could we 2x our business? Could we double our business? I guess you could 10x. But if you're going from 100 grand to $1 million, that's 10x. And everybody's talking about 10. There's a book called 10x is Easier Than 2x by Dan Kennedy and Benjamin Hardy. I've listened to the book. It's a little tedious to listen to be honest with you. But then again, that's probably 80% me. It needs to move quick for me. I might have a little ADD, might be on the ADD spectrum. It's got to move quick. It moves very slow, but it's good. The theory is that if you want to 10x your business, you want to 10x your income from 100,000 a year to $1 million, You have to radically shift everything, which is common knowledge. But you can't even do any of the things that got you to 100 grand. And I believe that. But the question is, okay, well, now what? Now what? So if I want to 10x my income, what do I do? Well, one thing you can do is go to the $1 Million Seller Challenge, because that's what that's all about. But I digress. So the lie of incremental potential is we tend to obsess with a 5% here and a 10% there, instead of saying, what would have to happen for us to 2x this business? What would have to happen? What would be the ingredients in the cookbook to 2x the business? Well, we're going to have to 2x the number of leads that come in. Okay, good, fair enough. We're going to have to improve our closing rate from 15% to 40%. Okay, well, 15% to 40%, you're 2xing your business right there. Almost 3xing your business. So this notion of, oh, 2x the business, come on, Bill, I can't do it. 2x my income. Yeah, you can. It's just simple math. If you improve the flow of leads and you increase the conversion percentage, and a couple other things have to happen, then you can easily 3 to 5x your business and maybe 10x. So it is a lie to talk about everything being incremental. Number 6 lie. If I'm eager, they'll be eager. If I'm eager to sell them, they'll be eager to buy. Big lie. I think we're past this. I think most sales professionals, I'm not going to spend any time on that, because if you're still doing the eager thing, man, you're living in the 70s and 80s. If you're still doing the big gushy smile and the persona when you walk into a room and you're bouncing off the walls because you've had 7 espressos, you're living in the past. People are on to that. If you're eager, they're eager is a big fat lie. Okay, number 7 lie. It's all about the doing. It's all about the having. So when you think about this being, doing, having thing, and we've talked about this and we've talked about it on the podcast, but the idea is we want to change what we have. Okay, we want to change what we have. We might want to change our income level. We might want to change how we go about doing business. We might want to change the whole business model. Instead of me going out pounding the pavement, which is a term I haven't used in a while, I want people to come to me. Well, if you're going to change, that's a big change. Now you can do it, but you have to decide, what do I want to have? And then you back up and say, well, what do I want to do? What are the results? And what do I need to do to get those results? The problem is most people stop here. They stop with the doing. They say, well, if I'm going to double my business, I'm going to have to double my effort. I'm going to have to double my cold calls. I'm going to have to double the pressure I put on my prospect to close. Oh, that'll help. That'll be helpful. That always works. Double the pressure you put on people. Yeah, it's good. So if you're going to have to do something different. The problem is that if you say to me, Bill, I want to double my business and I want you to coach me to doubling my business. I can do it, but we're not going to start with doing. What do you need to do differently? That's where every coach starts. I don't want to start there because it doesn't work. I can say, yeah, go start a YouTube channel, go start a podcast and go do X and such. And you're going to tell me, well, that's not what I do. That's not who I am. I know I should do video, but that's just not me. Yeah, that's the problem. You have not become the person that does the things that need to be done to have the things that need to be had. Let me say that again. You have not become the person that does the things that need to be done to have the things that need to be had or that you want to have. So it all starts with being. Who am I? How do I think about things? What is my philosophy? How do I proceed in the world in a way that allows me to do the things that I need to do to have the things I want to have? The becoming, the being, it's part of that identity. And it takes a while to change. And you might need somebody there with you on that journey. Sometimes it's not sometimes, almost always it's hard to change our identity without help, because all we can see of ourselves is the way we see ourselves from the inside. So if you find a coach and the coach starts to talk about what to do, run quickly. Don't sign a long-term agreement with that coach until you find one that works on the being, on the becoming, not on the doing. It's tempting. It's tempting to hire a coach, or forget about the coach. It's tempting to go to somebody and they say, well, you need to be, yeah, Bill, you need to be making more calls. You're not making enough calls. But I'm not the kind of person that makes calls. So who am I? And what do I need to become in order to not make more calls, but to have the things I want to have? And that may be a totally different avenue than just cold calls. So who do you need to become? Who do you need to be? How do you need to identify yourself so that you can do the things? And that's where it all begins. And it's a lie we tell ourselves that it has nothing to do with being. It all has to do with doing and having. And if you're in an organization, I hear this all the time, in an organization that all they think about is the doing and the having, get out. Get out. They're not going to change. And you're never going to become anything different than who you are now. And you will keep pushing the rope uphill, the doing rope. That's what we should call it. The doing rope, the hanging tree, the doing rope. I like that. All right. So I hope that helps today. 7 lies. I said 5. I gave you a 6. Then I gave you another bonus, like a bonus. And just don't lie. Just stop lying to yourself. It's hard to do. It's hard to stop. But I want to help you. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow. We're going to talk about something else that's very important. I don't know what that is yet because I don't do these until about 8 o'clock in the morning. I see what I feel. Anyway,